had to share with you guys what I heard today. I was floored, shocked. What I heard today on the Channel 5 noontime news. I can't believe it's even allowed, and it's not about a political affiliation. Well, let me just start by saying, you guys already know, or maybe some of you know, I voted for Trump. Joe voted for Trump. My mom voted for Trump, okay? I don't think Trump's the most wonderful person in the world, alright? I have my doubts whether or not he's telling the truth about certain things, including regarding these dozen women or whatnot who made those sexual, allegations against him, of sexual misconduct on his part towards them. Okay? But my God, what this used Apple store in Derry, New Hampshire is doing to people, getting away with doing to people, I'm in shock. It's not right, and it should not be allowed. And just because something is not on the books as breaking the law, well, I bet you there's lots of things that nobody thought we have to come up with a law about that, To me, it's just common sense. This used Apple store in Derry, New Hampshire is refusing to serve. Not only refusing. Now let's say I live in Massachusetts. What if I visited I'm just saying hypothetically, okay? That could potentially really hurt somebody. We're not evil. Republicans are not, you know what I mean? This is not a matter of political, this is a matter of just human decency. Oh my, it reminds me of, I don't know what it reminds me of. You tell me what it reminds you of. This used Apple store in Derry, New Hampshire is refusing to serve anybody who walks into their store and indicates, or the employees there believe that the person is a Republican. Maybe the person makes small talk, but apparently the employees are allowed to point out if they know you're a Republican. Oh my God. Why is that not illegal? Why is that allowed? And the connotations of it being allowed, and the news said, well, the officials in New Hampshire say that political affiliation is not protected. Okay, but what about just human decency? What if I was visiting New Hampshire and went into that Apple store and was made to feel like shit? They have a Facebook page. I just can't believe this, because when I tell Joe, he's going to say, see, Laura, what it's coming to? If they're allowed to do that, then, any store could do anything, be discriminatory towards anybody, except for the ones, I guess, that are protected by federal law, which is, you're not allowed to discriminate based on sexual orientation, race, gender, sex, etc. I don't know that one exactly, but you know what I mean? Just because something is not a law, and just want to say too, there's people complaining that people are even, I hope they do. You can't, if one store gets away with this and then another store gets away with that, and along the same lines, I don't believe that any store should be allowed to turn down, that thing where they don't want to make the cake for somebody who's homosexual. I heard about that before, but I guess I'm saying some state or some place, but that's not, they were allowed to do that, because if they're a Christian place, it goes against their, I don't know. To me, it's just all bullshit, people. But this is just, it reminds me of what was I thinking when I heard this? Employees are allowed to point them out. Like, it said it on the news. Employees are allowed to, don't serve them, that person's, I know that. Oh my God. it reminded, I instantly thought of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where you'd have them pointing, you're not, you haven't been taken over, you're still human, or something, you know. That's what it reminded me of instantly. The employees are allowed to point out. And these people wrote on their Facebook page, this used Apple store in Derry, New Hampshire, wrote on their Facebook page about, you know, me, about someone who voted for Trump or voted Republican. You have an uptight, closed energy, negative aura to you, almost evil, and to be honest, usually evil. Oh my God. Your business is not welcome here. And it says, New Hampshire state law, political affiliation is not a protected class. Then I go back to the same thing. What about, forget about fuck political affiliation. What about human decency? Okay? I'm visiting New Hampshire, and for some reason someone who works there knows that, or maybe I strike up a conversation, or maybe they weed you out. Maybe if you don't go along with them or something or other, then they know you're not on their side, and they can refuse you service. Are you fucking kidding me? That's allowed because political affiliation is not a protected class in New Hampshire. Okay? Well, the connotations of that are very, very disturbing. Okay? Any store can say, just because it's not on the law books, it's kind of common sense. I feel like if you're going to, I'm going to tell you something. I feel like if you're going to run a store, any kind of business, you should not be allowed to turn away anybody. And the exception is this. And I'm going to tell you this, and I feel this way even though I have been homeless, as you know. Okay? I feel that businesses should not be allowed to turn anybody away. But restaurants, if you are obviously homeless and you smell and you know what I mean, you're going to offend the other patrons, then I do believe it's at the discretion of restaurants to, you know, you see signs like we reserve the right to refuse service to anybody for any reason. I was on the receiving end of that when Omar and I were living on the streets because I hadn't showered in days, and, you know, and basically I didn't want to go in and sit down. I was in Hollywood. I was in Hollywood Boulevard, you know, probably, you know, the center where the Chinese theater is and all those things are, whatever. And Omar and I wound up spending the weekend in one of those dingy, disgusting hotels, but that you know, probably one of those ones rented out by the hour or something. I don't know. At least we were safe inside and warm, and I could take a shower, and, you know, it might as well have been a 5-star hotel. But in any case, I just wanted water for Omar. At one point when we were living on the streets, I think somebody, because I remember I had him in the cage, I had baggage, I had whatever, but I do understand that restaurants or something like that they don't want. I understand that. I don't view that as, because if you're going to offend the other patrons, but I don't think something like a used Apple store should be able to, you know, refuse service. But not just that. It says employees are allowed to point out. Like, say you walk into the store and they know that your affiliation is Republican, that you voted Republican or whatever, or you're a Trump supporter. They're allowed to point you out. And to me, that's the most disturbing of all. Employees in that store are allowed, if you go into the store, point you out, and your business is not welcome here. And in that post on Facebook, they call us evil. You have a negative aura, almost evil, in fact, usually evil. Holy fucking shit. Well, you know what, Derry, New Hampshire used Apple store people? I'm not evil. I am far from an evil person, and my Joe is one of the most just beautiful souls you could ever come across. So you're the ones who are evil to be doing that to people, and the fact that your state allows you to do it makes me fucking sick to my stomach. Okay? And I just can imagine that the employees, you walk in, and if they're allowed to point you out, and that in and of itself should not be allowed. You know, that in and of itself could really hurt somebody, distress somebody, like really affect them negatively. It says that some people, well, there are complaints, and people are even considering taking legal action against this used Apple store. But my thing is, yeah, okay, it's not technically, you're not a protected class, but why should any business be allowed to do that to anybody? Seriously. Seriously. And if it is allowed, and people see it's allowed, then more and more people can do it for different reasons. I can't come up with reasons off the top of my head, but somebody else could do it for a reason other than political affiliation, and that's not technically a law in New Hampshire, and then so on and so forth, and I don't think that's good. In fact, that's very offensive to me. Particularly since I did vote for Trump, but I am far from being an evil person. And I mean, for them to write that on Facebook and to apply it to their business, if they're selling used Apple products, Apple should be offended that they're doing that. That's how I feel. It's a used Apple store. And they have that on their Facebook. What I just read to you, they say your business is not welcome here. Basically, if you voted for Trump or voted Republican, if you're that, your business is not welcome here. But what the news said, the employees are allowed to point you out. Your business is not welcome here. We have the right to not serve you, and your business is not welcome here. And they posted that on their Facebook. I'm appalled. I'm appalled. I heard that. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I took the time to write down. I paused the TV, and I took the time to write down what they have on their Facebook page. Wait till I tell Joe. They're the ones that are evil. The people running that store, the people working in that store, they're the ones that are evil and absolutely, unfathomably beyond ignorant. Okay? You're running a business. Unreal. I can't imagine if somebody did that around here. I'm not that far from now in New Hampshire, though. Not that I go anywhere or do anything, but you know what I mean? But to me, it's like, okay, if they're allowed to do that because it's not a protected class under New Hampshire law, then where does it end? Where does it end? Where does it end, people? I'm appalled. I am appalled. As should you be. If you probably don't know about this. If I hadn't watched the news, I wouldn't know. But there's all kinds of shit that goes on that you just think, what the fuck, And if so, they're legally allowed to do that. It's sick. It's sick. And like I said, if they can do that regarding political affiliation, someone else can do it regarding something else. And then it's like, if you're running a public business, you shouldn't be allowed to do that, period. So that's all I have to say. Shame on you, used Apple store in New Hampshire. Shame on you for that fucking attitude, number one. And I take it personally. And let me tell you something. I am not even remotely evil, okay? Sick. Sick. Sick, sick, sick.